Now, after Napoleon III had been unsuccessful in setting up a French puppet state in Mexico and pretty much being threatened by the United States to get out of Mexico, he went back to France and he was still determined to have his war. He was determined to restore the glory of France by any means necessary. So it was the policy of Napoleon III to make France great again. And so he wasn't able to do that in the Western Hemisphere, so he looked east. So there were problems with Prussia for a while because Prussia had been doing what were called the German Wars of Unification, where the Prussians were trying to unify all the German states under one banner. And the Prussians have been growing stronger and stronger, and of course this was a direct threat to Napoleon's reign. So he began trying to exercise every form of domination over the Germans, the German people, the Prussians, trying to humiliate them, trying to show them like who was boss. And this was his neighborhood, and he's going to run it how he sees fit. And the Prussians withstood it for a while, and finally he got to where they weren't going to back down to him. So, true to form, Napoleon III declared war in the summer of 1870. And the battles began in July of 1870, and everything wrapped up rather quickly because on beginning of September of 1870, the French, with Napoleon III and 83,000 French troops, were taken prisoner by the German forces. And that opened the door to march on Paris itself. And the city was laid under siege. And during this time, Germany decided to humiliate France by crowning their new emperor because they finally formed their new country called Deutschland, which is Germany. It was all united. And they decided to crown him in the French Hall of Mirrors in Versailles. That's where Kaiser Wilhelm I was crowned Kaiser of Germany. Now, Kaiser is German for Caesar. And shortly, the day after he was crowned in the Hall of Mirrors, the French capitulated in January of 1871. And the French were made to pay a 5 billion franc price to the Germans as a war debt. And then the Prussian and the Germans stayed in France until 1873 until that debt was paid. Now, this actually laid the groundwork for what would take place 40 years later during the First World War, because the French would remember this, because they also lost a very important piece of land called Alsace-Lorraine. That was the eastern part of the country that was now part of Germany, and they wanted that back. They were hungry for it. That was the ultimate cost for them, was having part of the country now being part of Germany. And so this will lay the groundwork once again for what will begin taking place in the First World War. There you go.